So, 5 seasons, and it only took me this long to do two things for my phone. Figure out cinematics and 4K for at least this series. Anyway, hey everybody, what's up? This is Retrokid Reviews doing my premiere review so far of The Boys final season, aka season 5. Couple of things I want to address right up front. No, I did not finish multiple things related to The Boys, namely doing a review series for Gen V. Speaking of which, most of season 2 is not tied too much into this final season, so we'll get to that when I get to talking about the finale in the next couple of weeks. Other thing, speaking of The Boys, I didn't finish all of season 4, and the catch-up they did a preview going into this season was very wild and very creepy, more than usual, so I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of that. So I'm coming in a little blind of some context as far as bridging those seasons go. Aside from that, what I know is that obviously the season is going to be not only its finale, it's to basically prove basically how much accuracy is left of the comics, because inevitably, I think in the comics as well, Homelander was supposed to take over America and basically be his president kind of thing. And also, there's a very obvious crowbar of it all with Butcher that he may or may not still do for the finale. So again, that we'll get into the theory specifics of that in a bit. Let's just get to these first 2 episodes, and like I said, I'll be back next time for the finale. 5 inches of sheer dynamite, aka the prison break episode. The boys had, well, a half of the boys had to go through in that episode was a lot of different headlines of like, insert current day politics here. Saving myself for copyright reasons and a bunch of other legalities. But you know what you know. Yeah. Aside from that, I gotta give Jack Quaid this. Very front heavy for him of just like he was seeing so much and so quickly of a succession when it came to this last couple of years, and just going to one of his I think government liaisons he used to work with pre Homelander taking over America. It's like, yeah, no, I by all sheer logic, I really should have been dead here. Again, I won't go into the specifics of all the boys. I'm a huge Frenchie fan. Long story short, his vibe check is mixed than usual. Obviously, going into the final season. I'm gonna have to go back into season 4 because I gotta figure out how Kimiko, played by Karen Fukunaga, obviously, getting her voice back essentially. That wasn't like in the cards, I think, even in the comic itself. The big parallel, obviously, that a lot of I guess criticism there was for season 4 is like a lot of current administration fans realizing, hey, hang on, they're making fun of our conservative politics. Yeah, dude, they were playing both ways. What did you think was gonna happen? That kind of old talking point, rearing its head more than usual, obviously, because again, it's a dark reflection of current day America. Yada yada yada. You know how it is. So, case of why I write yada yada to the finishes. The good news is, as far as this season goes, it's not speed running to the finish for stuff they gotta do from the comics, much like most of what Game of Thrones, and now obviously as of this year, Stranger Things has speed run through just to get to its bloated finale. So go to my review for that for the final season of that show. Aside from that, the premiere is not bad. You get an idea where everyone's been since the year time jump when basically Homelander took over America. I did not know that Ashley had Compound V in her since, I want to say, the second season of Gen V. Again, a few parallels of, like, minor stuff. Ash was a yes woman to most of VOD throughout the series, and is now a yes man to Homelander being vice president, just being an answers woman for basically everything. And it is kind of weighing on her. Again, she's got the handful of changes from the comic. I know the hair loss thing was also from the comics, but was done more edgy, less tastefully than it was here in the show. So again, that's the kind of the thing with this comic. It's been widely known that it's the show is better than the comic. I think Pointless Hub's earliest videos was talking about how much has changed in between. Keep in mind, was before this and last season dropped when that video dropped. So again, if he does an update video, I'll let you know in the comments down below as always. But yeah, ultimately, it's a good refresher for me to see where everything is. Now on to episode 2 of, speaking of the villain side of refreshers, the 7 is clearly in control more than usual, and I think Sister Sage, if I got her character's name right, I remembered her actor all the way back from Powers. If I did a review of that series, it's probably one of my earliest ones here on the platform, so I'll go to that. She got a good glow up on like her villainhood, just being a number two and basically planning things in behind the scenes to see like if she can take over Homelander if the boys do have something on them, which in particular in this case is the virus that they've been hyping up since Gen V. It does technically work, but when it comes to Soldier Boy, played once again by Jensen Ackles, very gonna be a big supernatural reunion later down the road when Jared Padalecki comes in for the next couple of weeks of episodes for the season. So that's going to be interesting to see nonetheless. Ultimately, for Teenage Kicks, the actual in-universe, I guess, Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad, Teen Hero team, you can see a lot of parodies and parallels to, like, social media influencers and stuff like that. Even just doing Fortnite dances, like taking people out of homes and stuff. Again, trying to show more authoritative ways of how the soups are this time around the season. And what else? They had a Thing parody, which was actually kind of okay, but it kind of reminds me of that really bloated Vampire and Blade. If I ever did a retro review, go to that. That's kind of how I felt about that whole thing. But they needed Soups to basically test the virus, and turns out it worked really good for those two. Not so much for Soldier Boy, so there is a slim chance there's an immunity factor for not just him, but for Homelander as well, which would make a lot of sense to like roadmap him to basically how he got canon killed in the comics. So before I go into too much specifics of what is canon, and go to my previous TV review of Invincible about getting weirded out about the whole Conquest thing. Did they fake me out, stuff like that? Yes, it was a fake out. We're not going to go into that. So again, go to that for any other TV wrap ups there. I got nothing else to say as far as both these episodes are a really strong start for the season. I hope they can keep up the momentum. I think on IMDb, the first episode of the final season is the highest rating so far, so we'll see how that goes from here. Sorry for the speed run. Essentially, I got work in like not even a couple of minutes, so that's why I'm kind of rushing it here. And sorry again for making this non-spoilery and sporadic with some spoilers, mainly because again, I kind of want to have some tempered expectations of my own in case the finale goes sideways. But given Kripke's history with most of these actors and most of their reputations being like character actors who supernatural, it's probably a decent send nonetheless. Nothing I've heard has basically faltered other than the 2-year wait period they've been historically known to do since I believe when the show was on break during COVID for their season 2. So again, if there was a show that has basically benefited the most with the 2-year wait in between, I think it's this, if anything else. Again, the comedy is all over the map, by design to obviously make fun of whatever superhero day it is. As for the boys themselves, I really hope Butcher gets not, I mean, he's really descending into how he was in the comics, but I hope it's a little better done than it was, because he did go crazy, and he does, I think in this show's case, is because of the V. If it's both regardless, I don't know. If he doesn't get the V, or they get it at him in time for the virus, who knows. Ultimately, I do want to give my flowers right now for Jack Quaid, Anthony Starr, Carl Urban. Those guys are absolutely going to get work after the show. You obviously can also tell in Jack's case from his My Adventures with Superman days. I think season 3 is already in production, if not on a slow rollout. I could be wrong. One last thing before we get to end cards. This is like micro news. I'll probably talk about it in the shorts, but I am very much aware of the Avatar: The Last Airbender adult Aang movie got leaked online over the weekend, so I'll try to talk about that as best as I can and trying to avoid spittles aside. Yeah, what is your overall thoughts of the series? What's your favorite episode in season 4 that I probably will do a rewatch as like homework getting into the finale? Let me know in the comments down below. Aside from Carl, Jack, and Anthony, like I said, is there anyone else cast-wise do you think deserves like an Emmy or anything if they ever have Emmy chances at this point? I will give one shout-out to my final score so far. To J.T. Usher, who was A-Train throughout the series. I legit didn't see most of like the building blocks of his redemption arc that he was going through last season, going to his death in the first episode. Chase Crawford as the Deep is funnier than usual. Like, again, he is like all game for like any like parody of like modern day politics and like Dupro politics and podcasters of all kinds. I have absolutely no clue what's going on with Black Noir. He's doing like a whole like staying in character, staying silent kind of thing. My theory, since we're now getting to finale theories, I think Sister Say swapped that new version of Black Noir to be the clone Homelander. That was the whole point in the finale of that comic. So maybe that might give you a roadmap to where that goes. If not, I could be way off. Again, I did not see the rest of the season. I know everyone who's had preview reviews and non-spoilers reviews gets screeners for almost all 7 out of the 8 episodes for the season. So I think Double Toasted probably had the best reaction to what will be the penultimate season finale later down the road in the coming weeks for this season. And if I don't have time to do the finale, I'll say it here. This is a good show, despite everything it's been the last couple of years. It's a good parody and satire of modern-day superhero shows, modern-day superhero filmmaking in general, and bleeding into modern-day politics was probably not a knee-jerk reaction, but it is kind of what they thought they can do going into this current administration before it got to be the current administration kind of vibes. But that being said, word salad out of the way, what is your overall favorite episode? And end cards finally coming up to my shorts playlist here, to my previous video here, which is my, speaking of TV stuff, my double review for TV stuff. Gear here to sub to channel, hit the notification bell down below. And until next time, I'm Retrokid Review saying, so is Butcher gonna go full canon ending or not? Just want to know, guys. Seriously.